What is up, guys? Welcome back to Spoiling Movies. My name is Chris, and I'm going to tell you all about a movie that I just watched for the millionth time. And I'm going to spoil it. I'm going to tell you everything that happens. In honor of Avengers Endgame coming out, I decided to go back to the very first installment in the MCU, Iron Man. The film starts with some kind of army convoy through a desert where Tony Stark is with some other military personnel, and there's some goofing back and forth, and one of the guys is like wanting to ask him questions, and they're kind of nervous around him because he's a big, rich, famous guy. And there's goofing back and forth, and he's sort of oh no, the guy's trying to do a peace sign. He's like, no gang signs, man. I'm just joking. What's your name? Whatever. Like he's just kind of fucking goofing around with people. And then boom, explosions in the front car that's right in front of him, and then more gunfire and explosions and shit. Tony gets out of the car and starts kind of trying to get away. A missile thing that lands like right next to him, and before it explodes, he sees that it says Stark Industries on it. Like that was his company's bomb, and it blows, and he's still alive, but he's fucked up, and like he starts bleeding. You can see blood coming out. He got like shrapnel in him and shit. And then they show him wake up in like a cave, and they're speaking another language, and they're being recorded, and he's being held hostage, and they're doing like a terrorist thing for recording purposes. And then it says 36 hours earlier, and there is narration about how Tony Stark rose to power and got all his money. His dad was a tech guy that started like weapons manufacturing and like helping the government and this and that. And then Tony took over when his dad died. Some reporter girl walks up to Tony and it sort of calls him out on being like, "You're a war profiteer person. Like, how do you feel about that? Like, how do you sleep at night?" And he's like, blah, 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 blah. Like, there are good things as well as bad things that a company does. Ends up sort of seducing her and taking her back to his mansion, and they bang. And the next day, she wakes up and he's not there. We meet Pepper Potts, his assistant, Tony's assistant, and she sort of escorts the lady out, basically just tells her to get lost. Then we see Tony Stark flying to a desert location where he's gonna promote and show off his new type of missile, the Jericho missile, in front of a group of army dudes. And it's this cool missile that can go and like split into different things, and it like explodes behind him, and it's really it's a fun little scene. And then we come back to present day, and he is waking up from some type of surgery where he is attached to a car battery. There's like a wire from his chest to some type of car battery. A guy in the room explains that that's what's keeping him from being dead. The car battery thing is keeping pieces of metal shrapnel from entering his heart and killing him. And the guy that's there with him in the cave thing also explains that the reason the terrorists are keeping him alive is so that he can build more of those Jericho missiles for them. And they have a ton of his weapons already for some reason, so they're able to, they say that they've got all the material for him to build the shit, he just needs to fucking build it. And they also make reference to the 10 rings, which I think was also related to the Mandarin and the terrorist organization that the Mandarin was involved in from like the comics and shit. So he starts working on something. They think he's working on the Jericho missile, but really he's building something else. And he builds this weird little ring thing, glows, and he says it's a miniature arc reactor. And that replaces the car battery thing in his chest. Find out that he is building a big suit of armor with weaponry and shit so that he can find a way out of the cave. And the terrorist people are like watching him on camera, and they start to get suspicious about some shit. So they come try to get through the door, but they set up a bomb, so those guys get fucking knocked back. And the dude that was helping him, Jensen, he's like, I gotta buy you time while this thing is uploading, so you have everything you need. He grabs a gun, he runs out there, like starts trying to buy him time. So Iron Man basically just starts kicking ass through the tunnel. He's got super strength. He's all fucking covered in metal. He's got like little missile thing. He goes, pew, pew, pew. He finds Jensen, the dude that was helping him, and he's dying. A little speech about like this is part of the plan. Just go do what you got to do. Get out of here. On his mask in the armor thing, it's got like little rectangular eyes, and it's really lucky that those people that were shooting at him the bullets didn't get in the fucking eye sockets. That would have put a wrench in your plan, wouldn't it have? When he gets like out of the cave, there's still like you see all the weapons and all the people, and they're still firing at him and shit. And he pulls out the fucking dual flamethrowers, just just fucking flaming, all the weapons, everything's exploding, people are dying and shit. Which also made me think, like, I'm pretty sure those little slits in your eyes, like, you'd probably feel a lot of those explosions, wouldn't you? You'd probably get a lot of fucking fire in your eyeballs. Flies out from those explosions, and he ends up, like, landing down in the sand, surviving it. And then he just kind of walks around the desert without the suit thing, because it's all busted into pieces, until people find him. The Americans are flying overhead in helicopters. They see him walking around and take him back to America. When Tony's back in America, he calls a press conference, and he explains that he's going to shut the company down until they can figure out a new direction. They're not going to... He saw that those people were using his weapons, and he doesn't know what's going on with the company, so shut it down. And he talks to Obadiah Stane, which is Jeff Bridges' character, shows him that he's got the little arc reactor thing in his chest. Dude's like, we need to use that. You need to, and he's like, no, this isn't for you. This is for me, and we got to figure stuff out. And he's like, this is my company, and I'm gonna fucking do what I want with it. Once he's back in his laboratory, he's able to make a better arc reactor, a new one. So he takes the old one out and gives it to Pepper Potts. Gwen Stefani, what's the fucker's her name? Gwyneth Paltrow. He says, destroy it, get rid of it. And then he starts working on a brand new suit. Fucking builds himself a brand new type of the suit that he made, but a better one. Full version of the new suit ready. He decides to go on a test flight in an all-silver Iron Man suit, but he wants to test out, like, how high it can go. But he goes so high that the suit starts, like, icing up, and it, like, sends him back down to the ground. But he's able to get it, like, crack all the ice off, get back up there. But apparently Pepper saved the old arc reactor and gave it back to him as a gift, because he's kind of a dick. So it's in a box, and it says, proof that Tony Stark has a heart. Stark decides to attend an event, a big Stark event that normally I guess he wouldn't go to. We get a Stan Lee cameo where he's playing Hugh Hefner, and it's kind of funny, and he sort of looks a little bit like Hugh Hefner. Agent Coulson shows up for the second time in the movie, and he's talking to Pepper Potts, like, we need to talk about some things with Tony Stark. Can you pencil us in for a schedule thing or whatever? The same reporter lady that he had slept with earlier in the movie is at the party, and she's like, I thought you were a good guy, but it turns out you're an asshole. Your weapons are still being used by these terrorists, and this picture was taken yesterday. Obadiah Stane, fucking Jeff Bridges dude, tells him that he made that decision because you don't know what's best for the company and what's best for yourself and us, so just deal with it. But Tony suits up in the fully formed red and gold Iron Man suit, and he flies off to wherever the fuck that is where the terrorists are. He shows up and starts just fucking them up. Punches one of them into the side of some rocks, probably kills that motherfucker, and then they have like a bunch of hostages, but he has little fucking things that come out of his shoulders and like just lock onto every one of them so that all the bad guys fall and all the people they were holding hostage are still okay. And there's even a tank that like shoots a fucking tank thing at him, and he dodges it just barely and then shoots a little pew, and it goes whadoosh and fucking destroys the tank. So he flies off, and the Air Force has gotten wind of what's going on. So the Air Force sends a couple of their planes to try and take him down. He fucking dodges them, but accidentally kind of like runs into one of their wings. And for some reason the dude eject, but the parachute isn't working. So he goes and fucking helps the dude get the eject the parachute, but he's also talking to his buddy, the Air Force guy Rhodey, and since his friend James Rhodes, Rhodey dude, like knows him and knows what he's doing, when he goes on TV, he explains it's just a training exercise, whatever that was. It was training exercise gone wrong, but everybody's okay. Apparently Obadiah Stane, Jeff Bridges dude, was behind the original trying to kill Tony in the beginning. Talking to the terrorists, Stane learns that he had a suit, and that's what he built, and they find like plans for the suit, and they find pieces and shit. And then there's a great scene where Obadiah Stane is talking to his scientist people, and they're like, we just can't recreate this thing that he has made. And he's like, Tony Stark made this in a cave with a bunch of scraps. What? Why can't you do it? So Obadiah Stane ends up using a little device to paralyze Tony when he's not ready, and he takes out his arc reactor thing, takes it away. Tony's just like crawling to the place where where the box was that has like the old arc reactor thing that was taken out. Pepper Potts takes a bunch of like SHIELD people, agents, or other military people with her to find out what's going on with Obadiah Stane. He shows up, and he's in a giant bulky, weird version of that suit that he recreated, reverse engineered with the arc reactor. And there's a weird like Hulk style chase. It reminded me of like the Hulk scene, just sort of chasing somebody and busting through shit. Iron Man meets up with Stane in his crazy suit and starts. They have a big battle like in the middle of a highway. At some point, Stane's robot armor picks up a fucking motorcycle and smashes him in the fucking face. Some reason fucking Jeff Bridges is really good using a suit that he's never trained in or used before, and he gives a big old bad guy speech, and he's like, well, I did it, I'm doing this cause fuck you, and I'm a bad guy, and this is how it's gonna be, Tony. Obadiah Stane takes the suit and launches like up into the sky for apparently no reason. Tony gets up there, the suit's freezing because he didn't know how high it would go or whatever. Tony says a snarky comment, Tony snark, and then hits him on the head and the suit fucking falls down to earth because he didn't plan for the freezing. So he's like barely able to land. Tony's suit is running out of juice, running out of its battery because it's like the old arc thing. He tells Pepper Potts to go into the place because they're on top of a building. Go into the place where the arc reactor thing is, do some tech shit, and fucking blow it up. The building fucking explodes. Stane is gone and dead, I guess. But for some reason, Tony lives because he's the hero, affected by the explosion that killed the other guy. So there's another press conference. Tony is given a statement written by the people at S.H.I.E.L.D. Agent Coulson tells him, you just read this stuff and we'll take care of it. But Tony, like, during reading the thing, he's just like, you know what? I am Iron Man. And that's the movie. I fucking love it. The acting is great. The CG is mostly very good and pretty much holds up. There are moments, for some reason there's moments in movies, even these days, where, like, a person's face is, like, CG'd onto a body, and it still looks very fake. Like, even in Shazam, it happened. Avengers Infinity War, it happened with the Hulk thing. One or two moments with Tony's head in the Iron Man suit where it looks a little fake, and then another obvious one where, like, Jeff Bridges' dude is kind of a floating head inside of a suit. The music is great. The acting's great. It's a fucking great movie, and it's one of my favorites. This has got to be, like, the top. I think Robert Downey Jr. was a surprisingly great choice for the character. And it's enjoyable. Overall, like, you get to see him be a hero. You get to see him go from being a selfish piece of shit, rich motherfucking whatever, to being a hero. And you get to see all kinds of cool, like, tech shit and Iron Man flying around and blowing things up, and it's really, really good. So that's it for me. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about this one. What's your favorite Marvel cinematic movie or any Marvel thing? Any comic stuff? I'm a little bit of a nerd if you didn't know that already. Peace out, guys. Oh, no gang signs.
Somebody grab him some clippers. His fucking beard is weird. Beard's weird. Right. Yelling at the mic. Weird.
Doing this once.
Weird.
How does my beard look, you guys? I wonder if I could play a different character in a different movie. Now that I have the perfect beard. I'm glad this wasn't permanent, Mark. Did a whole bunch of stuff, and so the 20s because you got to be penciled in for a schedule. Whatever I just said doesn't make any sense. And there are still your by the way, I only drink the type of beers that Tony Stark, billionaire, drinks. That's don't fact check it. Rich guy beer. That's good.